All right, number one priority is safety. So check for injuries. You're going to look to see if you're bleeding. You want to make sure that you don't have any, and by injuries I mean anything that's life-threatening. The second thing that you should do is call 911. So there's a number of reasons why you should do this. You need to have the police at the scene if they're available. And even if you think that they might not be available, I still think that you should call because you want to document. Here's the problem that I have found. For whatever reason, people are more likely to lie when they're talking to their insurance company than when they're talking to the police officer. In my experience, there has been much more lying when the person is reporting their claim to their insurance company than when they're talking to the police officer. I think that there's something with the human brain where it's easier to lie if you're on the phone than if you're face to face with the person. And look, I know that the police take forever to get there. Trust me, I do. But I have seen so many times when the people just exchanged information and the person accepted fault there and then later said, no, I never said that, and no, it's not my fault. I've just seen it over and over. So to me, it's worth sitting in your car for 2 hours to wait for the police to arrive. Now, there are times when they're not going to go out because in bad weather, but you still need to call to document it. That 911 call, we can get a copy of that. If you didn't call, now you're just putting yourself at a disadvantage. Why not call? It's free. So number 3 is I want you to move the vehicles, but only if it's safe. So a lot of times, the reason that we want you to do this is because your accident could cause another accident downstream. That's unfortunately pretty common, especially on the freeway. But if your vehicle was disabled because of the force of the collision, that happens a lot, or the axle's broken or whatever, obviously you can't move it. But if you can and it's safe to do so, get the vehicles pulled over to the side. If you think that the other person is not moving if you're worried the other person is not moving their vehicle and they're actually leaving the scene, take a picture if it's safe to do so. I've unfortunately seen this a lot where the person will leave. The other person thinks they're just going to pull over and then they just leave. Expect the worst and hope for the best. So the fourth thing is you're going to want to do is exchange insurance information. I'm going to couple this with this. No fighting. Don't be dumb. If I understand the feeling of adrenaline and wanting to just punch the person. I get it. I have seen cases where the jury awarded the person who was hurt in the accident less money because of how she reacted. And I know that she was reacting because of pain and adrenaline. I get why she did what she did, where she's cursing out the other person, but the jury did not like it. And then also, road rage is a problem. Let's try to avoid. So one of the things you'll hear a lot of people say is don't admit fault. Sure, but also just don't talk about it. Don't try to elicit an apology. That's also kind of obnoxious behavior. It's unnecessary and it could lead to a fight. This is bad. We don't want fighting. And just be aware, your body's gonna be coursing with adrenaline. You're probably gonna be shaking. Not a great time to have an intellectual discussion about fault. So avoid that. Witness contact information. So what I see a lot of times is the witnesses don't want to stick around for the cops because they know it's going to take forever. So just don't expect them to call the police and give their statement because everybody's busy. It's super rare for that witness to call the police department after the fact. So if they're going to leave, just get their name, phone number, and address so that we can find them later and get their full statement. Now, obviously, if they stick around to talk to the police, awesome. That's great. It's just, in my experience, that most people don't want to do that. You're lucky if somebody stops, honestly. 7th step is documenting. That's the lawyer firm term for it, but take photos. So especially stuff that you're not going to have access to later. So, for example, damage to the other person's vehicle. Try to do this in a way that's not obnoxious. But you also skid marks on the road, the intersection, the layout of the intersection, those things, the traffic light, whether it was that's controlled by a green arrow. You're going to want to take a picture of that because all of that stuff could be disputed later. And then, of course, I have here, call me. You definitely want to get an experienced personal injury attorney on your side. Except here, don't call me if it was your fault. I can't help you. Call your insurance company if it was your fault, and they'll help you.